Hi, I'm Rich Torrey. Welcome to another Level Up Cartooning. All you need to follow along with me is a pencil and paper. It doesn't get any easier than that, right? Now, before we get started, make sure you hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button as it helps this channel to grow, and hit the bell so you never miss a lesson. Okay, so last week we drew the Super Saiyan version of Goku from Dragon Ball Z, and it hit me while drawing that hair that there's another anime character from that era that had insane hair that I had never drawn before. And well, I guess I just felt that before I head to that last roundup, I had to take a crack at drawing that hair. I'm talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! Or more specifically, the main character from Yu-Gi-Oh! Yugi Muto's transformational alter ego, Yami Yugi. Yes, in my 30-year career, while I had seen it a million times, I had never attempted to draw that iconic, insane hair. And so today, we're going to do so. Alright, so let's draw. We're going to draw Yami Yugi, step by step, giving you the secret formula to be able to draw him again and again. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know I normally use the character's head to figure out how big the entire character is. In this pose, Yami Yugi's body is just about 6 heads tall. In other words, however tall the circle that I used to construct his head is, his entire body is about 6 of those tall. That said, his crazy hair sticks up another full head tall, so keep that in mind when mapping out your character. Alright, so what do you say we get started with a roadmap for Yami Yugi from the epic manga, anime, and card game Yu-Gi-Oh! So there's our roadmap for Yami Yugi. Now before we go on to step 2, I want to give you the layout of Yugi Muto's ancient mystical alter ego using simple shapes for those of you who want a screen grab. Just something to help you when laying out your drawing of Yami Yugi. Okay, so now we're on to step 2. In this step, we do what I call roughing out the features. I want to remind you that until the third and final step, you want to draw as light as possible. You'll see that I use guidelines to help me to position Yami Yugi's eyes, nose, mouth, body, and some of the other features. We don't want those guidelines in the final drawing, so you want to draw them light enough to be able to erase them easily. Okay, so let's rough out the features for our drawing of Yami Yugi. Okay, so there are the roughed out features of Yami Yugi. So now with the roadmap done and the features roughed out, it's time for that final step. In step 3, we get to have fun. We get to draw in the final details of Yami Yugi. We don't have to guess where to put things because we've already done all the hard work to figure that out. Now would be the time to take a moment to look at your drawing while it's still lightly sketched out and fix or change things before you commit to drawing those final lines. But even after you begin those final lines, you should still be thinking about how you might improve your drawing of Yami Yugi all the way until the very end. All right? What do you say we draw in the details for Yami Yugi? And that's how you do it. There you have it, from Kazuki Takahashi's Yu-Gi-Oh!, Yugi Moto's ancient alter ego, Yami Yugi. So how do you think you did? Understand, if you've never drawn Yami Yugi or Yugi Moto or any version of either, then you cannot expect to have drawn them perfectly. You notice I don't spend time coloring our drawing of Yami Yugi during this video because I want my lesson to focus solely on the drawing process. But now you have the secret formula, the process for drawing Yami Yugi. And with that, you can draw him again and again. And by all means, color him when you're done. I promise each time you draw Yami, it'll be a little better and a little easier. I also promise the more you work with me, the better you're going to get at all of your cartoon characters. So I'd love to see your drawing of Yami Yugi. If you can, take a picture and post it on either Facebook or Instagram. And don't forget to include the hashtag #LevelUpCartooning. I hope you had as much fun as I did with this one. Remember to subscribe and thanks for joining me. Until next time, keep drawing, my friends.